Obviously, because I'm emotional does not mean I'm satisfied. So, yeah, okay, next round, let's go.
Somewhere in Pasig City there is a photograph nobody has ever shown you, and in it a 4-year-old girl is holding a racket almost as tall as she is, and if you knew what that photograph would eventually cost her, the home she'd leave, the man she'd have to say goodbye to, the tears she couldn't watch back for months, you might not believe it, and that's exactly why you need to hear this from the beginning, because the ending, the one the whole world just watched happen on center court, doesn't make sense without the secret buried underneath it. So let's go back, all the way back, to a shell-covered court where none of this was supposed to happen at all. Picture it, a little girl in ruffled socks, light-up shoes flashing with every step, chubby cheeks catching the afternoon sun, and beside her, a grandfather nobody outside that family will ever fully understand the importance of, a man named Roberto, Lolo Bob to her, who put a racket in her hands before she could even reliably tie her own shoes. There was no audience, no scouts, no cameras, just an old man and a little girl and a rhythm they built together, day after day, after school, in a country where tennis dreams this big simply weren't supposed to survive. And here's the first thing you need to sit with. Nobody, not her grandfather, not her family, not Alex herself, had any idea that this quiet, repetitive, almost invisible routine was actually the opening scene of something historic. Because greatness rarely announces itself. It hides in boredom. It hides in Tuesday afternoons. And it was hiding here, looked like nothing at all. But something was different about this kid. By the time other children her age were still learning to ride bikes without training wheels, Alex was already collecting junior titles, already turning heads, already being talked about in rooms she wasn't even in. And that's when the quiet story cracked open into something much bigger, much faster, than anyone was ready for. Because in 2018, at just 13 years old, Alex won a tournament so prestigious insiders call it the Junior Grand Slam of the sport. And that win did something nobody expected. It reached all the way to Mallorca, Rafael Nadal. His academy wanted her. A scholarship. A seat at the table of future champions. It should have felt like a dream coming true, an easy yes, a fairy tale beat, except it wasn't easy at all, because saying yes meant something devastating hid underneath it, leaving. Leaving Lolo Bob. Leaving the language she grew up speaking. Leaving the food, the smell of home, the small shell court where all of this began. At 13 years old, Alex had to choose between the life she knew and a life she couldn't yet picture, and her family, faced with a decision most adults would struggle to make, chose to send her anyway, alone, into a country she'd never lived in, to train under coaches she'd never met, chasing something that at the time was still nothing more than a maybe. Try to imagine that flight. A 13-year-old staring out an airplane window, leaving behind everything familiar for a program that might not even work out. Nobody puts that moment in the highlight reel, the homesickness, the tears in a language nobody around her spoke, the ache of missing an ordinary Tuesday back home. But that ache was the price. And she paid it. In Mallorca, the academy Nadal built wasn't gentle. It was a machine, engineered for discipline, early mornings, brutal conditioning, day after day of being pushed past what felt possible. And she wasn't just training beside good players, she was training beside future world number twos, watching greatness up close every single day while still trying to finish high school homework in a language that wasn't hers. Exams after 6-hour training blocks. Birthdays missed. Holidays skipped. A childhood quietly traded away, piece by piece, for something she couldn't guarantee would ever pay off. And yet, here's where the story pivots again, because just when it looks like the sacrifice might swallow her whole, she rises. 2018. First wildcard champion in the history of that same prestigious junior tournament. 2020, a Junior Grand Slam doubles title at the Australian Open, still a teenager. 2021, doing it again at the French Open. And then 2022, the moment that rewrites everything. At the US Open, Alex wins the girls' singles title without dropping a single set the entire tournament, becoming the first player from the Philippines to ever claim a Junior Grand Slam singles crown. Read that again. A nation of over 100 million people, and it's this girl, trained on a shell court by her grandfather, torn from home at 13, who breaks the barrier first. It feels like the climax, doesn't it? It feels like the story could end right there, triumphant, resolved, even close. Because junior tennis, no matter how dazzling, is still just the warm-up act. The real test, the one that decides whether any of this sacrifice actually meant something, hadn't even started yet. And when it finally came, it arrived faster and more brutally than anyone could have prepared for. 2025. The Miami Open. Alex walks in ranked outside the world's top 100, a wild card nobody outside hardcore tennis circles has even heard of. She began that season ranked 147th. Just another name on a bracket, expected to lose early and go home quietly. Instead, something happens that even veteran analysts can't fully explain. She beats the hometown favorite. Then she beats a former Grand Slam champion. Then she takes down the world's number 5. And then, and this is the part that should give you chills, she walks onto the court against the reigning superstar of women's tennis, a 5-time Grand Slam champion, ranked 3rd in the entire world. Except this isn't just an opponent. This is the same woman who, 2 years earlier, personally attended Alex's graduation from that same academy in Mallorca, invited there by Nadal. An unranked outsider takes down the defending force of the sport, and by the next morning, she isn't invisible anymore. She's the headline, the story every commentator is scrambling to explain. The name Rafael Nadal himself publicly congratulates, calling it a great victory for her and for the entire Philippines. Overnight, a country that had quietly, patiently followed her junior career suddenly can't look away. But here's the twist nobody warns you about when a fairy is unstoppable. 19 years old, and suddenly the weight of an entire nation's hope sits on her shoulders every time she steps on court. How does anyone carry that without cracking? She surges into the top 80. She reaches her first WTA Tour final months later. She becomes the first Filipina to ever win a Grand Slam match, pushing into the second round of the US Open. The breakthrough is real. But a breakthrough is not the same as an ending. It's a door, and behind that door was a surface she barely knew, waiting in London, about to become the setting for the most impossible chapter yet. Grass. Of all things, grass. The first time in her career, Alex walks in seeded at a Grand Slam, 29th in the draw. Her opening match is personal in a way strangers wouldn't notice. An old doubles partner standing across the net, a match she wins in straight sets. Then a tighter battle, 3 sets this time, clawing her way through to the 3rd round. And that's when fate, if you believe in that sort of thing, does something almost too poetic to be real. Standing across the net in the 3rd round is the same champion from Miami. The same woman who handed her that academy diploma years earlier. The defending Wimbledon champion. World number 3. And this time it isn't a surprise upset in front of a half-empty stadium in Florida. This is Wimbledon, the most famous court on earth, the entire tennis world watching in real time. 2 set points saved in a tiebreak that could have ended everything in an instant. A dominant second set. And then it's over. Alex has done it again, beaten the same champion on the biggest stage tennis has to offer, and she can't hold back the tears, right there on camera, in front of everyone. And what does she say, through that emotion? Not about the trophy. Not about the ranking points. She talks about a boy and an old man, her brother and her grandfather, and afternoons after school on a court most of the tennis world will never know into a single sentence. The shell court, the flight to Spain, the tears in a foreign language, the diploma hug that became a rivalry, all of it compressed into one raw, unscripted moment broadcast to a nation that has been waiting decades for exactly this. And then, because this story refuses to let you settle, even here, she adds something almost defiant through the tears. Being emotional doesn't let's go. That's not the mentality of someone chasing a moment. That's the mentality of someone chasing a legacy. 2 days later, the fairy tale meets its sternest test yet, the reigning Wimbledon finalist from the year before. 3 brutal sets. A fight that swings back and forth on center court in front of a crowd now fully, completely on her side. And she loses. Right there, the run ends. But ask yourself honestly, does it feel like a loss? Because by reaching that round, Alex becomes the first Filipina in history to go that far at Wimbledon, the deepest any player from her country has ever gone in the tournament's history. She walks off center court not in defeat but under a standing ovation, and instead of just leaving, she pauses, turns, and shapes a heart with her hands toward the crowd that has carried her the entire way. Some victories don't come wrapped in a trophy. Some come wrapped in history instead, and history doesn't ask your permission to matter. So here's where the story leaves you, suspended, unresolved, exactly the way it should, because every single beat of this arc, from a shell court in Pasig City to a heartbreak-laced ovation on the most famous tennis court on the planet, has been building toward one unanswered question. Was that Wimbledon run the peak of what Alex is capable of, or was it simply the first time the entire world finally turned around to look? Because somewhere right now, a young girl in the Philippines is picking up a racket for the first time, watching a broadcast of a fourth round she'll never forget, and if you think about it long enough, doesn't that feel like exactly how this whole story working?